Howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another tutorial episode of Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2. So for those of you who are not following my Hearts of Iron 4 series and are just coming here to the for the Gary Grigsby's War in the East series, I have to tell you that I watched the statistics of my past videos, and I noticed that people don't really like to watch very long videos. So I think I was thinking of maybe shrinking the length of these videos even more by making maybe ideally 10, 12, 15 minutes long videos and not anymore. I think at least half an hour, 40 minutes long videos. And for this video tutorial, I thought about taking inspiration from my previous tutorial video, which was divided into two parts: the phase and the Windows X pop-up information, and make two different tutorials. The first one of today, which will cover the phase-dependent action buttons. These are not called really action buttons. I'm the one calling them action buttons, and I will explain you why in a second. And the next video will cover more the topic of the admin info screens and the map information. And so let's get started. The very first, with the concept of action buttons, I like to refer to the third row. With the concept of action buttons, I like to refer to the buttons present here on the third row, starting from the top. I call them action buttons because these buttons allow me and allow in general the player to perform specific actions, not necessarily linked to the map. And also because these buttons, at least most of them, but not all of them, do change whether you're playing in the air planning phase or in the ground movement phase, and also do change whether you are playing as the Axis or if you're playing as the Soviets. And let's start from the very first. When you are in the air planning phase, you have a series of buttons here, also known as the F number buttons, and these buttons allow you to select a so-called air doctrine. The default button is this one here that says no air directive selected, also known as F1. Then if you are playing in the manual air management mode, so without the AI air assist, if you press F2, you can set up the air directive for the ground support mission, for the ground attack mission, and I can briefly mention the ground attack means that the planes will actively bomb an enemy division, while the ground support means that in the ground movement phase, your plane will actively support your units when they will engage into battles. You have the strategic bombing air directives that allows you to attack directly enemy infrastructures in enemy cities. You have the air recon air directive, very crucial in scouting either enemy troops, enemy positions, or enemy infrastructures. You have the air superiority air directive that allows your fighters to perform air superiority missions. You have the naval patrol air directive, allowing you to perform naval oriented missions with your air force, so like laying mines or naval interdiction or stuff like that. And then this button allows you to show all the battle sites. You can choose between both ground and air, ground only, and air only. The air battles will look like a an aerial bomb on the map, while the ground battle sites will look like an explosion, like this explosion symbol here. Then you have these three buttons here in the air planning phase. This opens up a window with all the air directives, and I can also spoiler you that for some of these buttons, let's say the information can be accessed in two ways, either by clicking on these specific buttons or by opening one of these, mainly the info screen here, because you can see you have both the show air reduction screen as well as the show air directive summary, that in this case is empty because I already cleared all of them. And this button here indicates which level of information you want to get during the air execution phase detail. There are 4 levels, and it's very intuitive. No detail mean that the air execution phase will fly extremely fast, and if you go in high detail, you will see that, I don't know, 25 bombers from KG-54 flew over Rovno. They bombed on day 1. On day 1 they destroyed, I don't know, 2 I-153 fighter planes, and so on and so forth. Of course, this is the golden rule: the more details you have, the slower your game will be. And then you have 2 buttons that are in common between the air planning and the air execution phase. This is the AI depot management, so the AI will automatically calculate whether you need to establish new depot on the map, or you need to let's say demolish some old ones or change the priority of the existing ones. This button is quite, let's say, also intuitive. Activate AI Air Assist. If you are clicking on this button during the air planning phase, the AI will automatically generate air directives. If you click on this button during the ground movement phase, the AI will fly any remaining mission, namely the air supply and air transport missions. This button here, the factory navigation panel, it just provides you information on everything that you have, on all the factories that are producing ground elements, aircrafts, the heavy industry, the armaments, vehicles, resources, oil, fuel, and even the synthetic fuel. This is, as I will mention in the tutorial of the production, this is something that the player does not control. This is just, as I mentioned, to have a global overview of the factories that you have. And how do you interpret the information here? Well, it's relatively easy. I have deselected the imports because I have no idea about these meaning here. If you know, please let me know in the comments below. But the size is basically how many factories you have, damage if they're damaged, delay if they will be activated in any specific turn, like in this case these Panzer II chassis factories will be activated, the ones in Nuremberg will be activated on turn 39, the locations and how many vehicles they have produced. 0 now because it's just the very first turn of Operation Barbarossa. And then you have here 2 other buttons, Shift and Control. If you are lazy with the keyboard, you can click here and then you can press any other key, but it's the same of pressing Shift, as you can see, or Control, as you can see. Let's now jump to the ground movement phase. Okay, and we see that now the action buttons do have changed. Again, we do have the F number buttons. The number 1 is the move mode. This is the again the default mode. This is the button that allows you to pick any unit and perform all the movement actions. Movement also, which include also the attack on enemy troops. Then we have the rail mode. The rail mode allows you to the F2 or the rail mode allows you to move units which are, let's say, eligible for moving along the railways, and it's very easy because you can select any unit that you wish to move along the railways. And for instance, this unit has to be already on a railway hex, and it has to be, I think, at least 10 hexes away from the enemy. And also each this unit needs to have what are called the SMP, the strategic movement points, that are indicated by this kind of wave with the arrow head here. On the very first turn of every campaign, units do not have any SMP, so they cannot be moved, and this is represented here by the fact that all the hexes here are grayed out. Otherwise, if this unit would be eligible for railway transportation, you would see that all of the connected railway hexes will be highlighted in a much lighter color. And you also see that some hexes do have these numbers here, 50, 50, 50, 20. This indicates the railyard capacity. What are railyards and how can you see them? Well, that will be the topic of the next video. Very similar occurs in the transportation mode. You can pick any unit, and then you can select the destination port that is indicated here in this green, and again here you see the indicated in number the port capacity. And you also have the amphibious transport mode that allows you to pick any unit and use it by selecting a specific hex to use this unit as a let's say a Next we have the amphibious invasion, that, as you can see, it also changes the phase on top of this bar into amphibious, and it basically works by selecting any unit already on a port and then clicking on any enemy hex, and in the logistics phase of the next player it will carry out the amphibious invasion or the amphibious operation. Then you have the air transport mode that opens up this window here. This is mainly if you want to manually move planes around, like as you can see next there is the air transport that allows you to do basically 3 types of mission that are indicated here in this window. These are the resupplying of units on the map, the transport of known motorized units on the map, or the I would say the execution of airborne invasions or airborne drops against enemy hexes in the next logistics phase. And again we have the battle sites. Here we can toggle the day and night air missions if you want to specifically select and visualize air missions that we decided to launch exclusively during the day or exclusively during the night. And then we do have these buttons here. These button, oops, sorry. Okay. Then we have these buttons here, the unit build up and breakdown. Units on the ground, let's say combat units, can be visualized in either divisions, represented here by the double X, or individual regiments indicated here by these three sticks. If you have a unit, a division in this case, and you want to break it down, you can press this button here, or just press the B, and as you can see, 3 different regiments will appear from these units, and they will carry the same name with just the 1, 2, and 3 slash the original name of the division. And if you press B again, voila, you have reconstituted the original division. Now, this button here, create fortified unit in selected hex, allows both players to give rise to a so-called fortified zone. Fortified zones are the units that I think I've discussed in the previous tutorials that look like they have a white box in the middle, and these are exclusively defensive units, and of course they cost admin points. The next button is the auto assign units to the nearest applicable HQ. That's pretty self-explanatory. When you have a new unit that is not yet attached to any HQ, you can just press this, select a unit, press this, and then it will automatically attach it to the closest and available HQ. And then we have this button here that is toggle ground support on and off. So I've mentioned before the ground support air directive. Even if you have set up the air directive, you can still select these button, and then now you see that you have GS off, so ground support off, and this means that your planes will not support your land units during the battles. And we can maybe have a look at the Soviets, because the Soviets do have one extra button. And okay, this extra button that the Soviets have is this one here. Build new unit menu. This is a unique option that the Soviets do have, and these buttons opens up a new window from which the Soviet player can decide to build any kind of unit, of course, based on the time, on the time frame. And here you can pick the unit that you like. You have the cost in terms of AP, the administrative points. You have the units, so how many units are already on the map, and then how many you can actually build. And you can just click and says, okay, too many units, so you can maybe click on the rifle division and say, okay, I want to build one, and here you can indicate how many units you want to have. Let's say I want to have 5, and you have low IP, so you just lower this to 2, and okay, it's again too low IP, we don't have enough, and okay, 8 IP, okay, it's fine. And then you can just click on build, and okay, it has built the rifle division. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this tutorial. I hope it was not too long, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one, which will cover the admin info and info screens and the map info buttons. Until then, my friends, take care, be safe, and stay tuned for more.